What is going on, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another deck tech. Today we're going to be checking out the new Boba Leader with the blue base. Before we get started in today's video, please make sure to join my Patreon either as a free or as a paid member. We have a ton of great content on there. And please make sure to like and subscribe, as well as comment on the 3,500 subscriber giveaway to make sure you have a chance at winning one of the 3 Millennium Falcons that I will be giving away. So for today's deck tech, I wanted to take a look at the new Boba Fett. I was super excited when I first saw this card. You know, my first thought is, like, obviously I want to have burn in here because I want to be able to play, you know, do non-combat damage and activate Boba's ability. And then we have all these really cool units that synergize with Boba. You know, so this deck can really pop off, but then again, there's some games where it can be kind of slow and you're kind of playing defense. So I felt like blue is where I wanted to start with this deck because I want to find a way to keep myself in the game. Blue just has really good removal, especially combined with red. And then, you know, obviously we have the restore effects. So, you know, I've been messing around with this a lot over the past day and a half or two. And this is a super fun deck. So turn one, like, one of our best plays is play Director Krennic, which allows us to play any of our when defeated units for 1 cheaper. So then we can immediately play First Order Stormtrooper as well. So Director Krennic allows us to do a lot of things. It allows us to play Onyx for 1. What's the other one? Droid Missile Platform for 2. I did have the Inferno 4 in here at first, but I chose to go Kylo's TIE Silencer to be a little more aggressive. And then it allows us to play Ruthless Raider at 5 resources. So, you know, there's enough synergy in here to justify playing 3. Not to mention it's just a 2/2 shielded unit, which is very good. So Director Krennic is just an amazing card. But that's one of your best turn ones, is just Director Krennic into Stormtrooper, so that you have 2 units on board. Stormtrooper by itself is a very strong card. Even if your opponent just immediately kills it, it's still doing 2 indirect damage to them, which, you know, depending on what unit they attack with, we might be able to kill that unit, or we might be able to just do 2 damage to their face. Stormtrooper, if it's able to attack in, can become a big problem because it's doing indirect damage every time, which triggers Boba's ability to do another indirect damage. So if they have no units on board, it's swinging in for 4 damage. So, you know, it's definitely can be a problem. And even when it dies, it's fine. And a lot of times we want it to die because we want to get a Droideka out there and just exploit it. So exploit is definitely something to consider more of with that card. And, you know, again, there's still a lot more spoilers, so there could definitely be some changes that make this deck even stronger than it's already felt. We're playing the 3 Daring Raids and the 3 Top Targets. Top Target is really nice in this deck just as a random way to just squeeze in, because a lot of our units come in cheaper because of Krennic, and then we're playing a lot of the low to the ground stuff, so Top Target is very easy to squeeze in, and it does become very important in the more aggressive matchups. Daring Raid is really strong in here because it's a way to push damage to their face, which is awesome. It's also a really great way to just finish off units that we don't kill with a lot of our indirect damage effects, as well as the card called No Disintegrations, which does deal damage to a non-leader unit equal to 1 less than its remaining HP. What's cool about that card is it triggers Boba's ability, so then, you know, if they don't want to do 1 damage to their face, maybe we have too much pressure, then it just kills any non-leader unit for 3 resources, so it's a very good card. But Daring Raid helps us to finish off things like that. Even Droid Missile Platform, right, when it dies, it deals 3 indirect damage, which then triggers Boba's ability, so we're technically doing 4, and then Daring Raid can come in and finish off anything if they chose to put it on their units. It puts them in a lot of situations where they don't want to make the wrong decision, and they don't know what other cards we have in our hand, so we can really dictate a lot of good things can happen for us, and it's a lot of fun because you're putting it on your opponent to make all the tough decisions, and you're just like, you decide and I'll react. And that, I think that is good when you get into the mental game, you know, the mental aspects of this game. It's like your opponent has to constantly think about how much damage they're putting on each thing and what to do and count the math and all this, and you're like, I'm just going to play a Daring Raid if you try to put it all on your unit, or I'm going to hit your face with Daring Raid because, you know, I have it in my hand and I want to put more pressure on you. So it's, you know, it puts them in a lot of situations like that, which is really fun. Onyx Squadron Brute. It's not as like amazing as it is in the Thrawn deck, of course, when you can defeat it and gain 4 life, but it's still good in here just to because it's a space unit and we can put some of our upgrades on it to make it a real threat as early as turn 2. And then it's just a way to subtly gain 2 life in addition to our vigilance and our top target, which occasionally we do need just to have that early space presence. Allegiant General Pride is pretty cool. You have to have the initiative. That's why there's just 2 copies, because if you don't, then it's just a 2/3. But when you do, it deals 2 indirect damage, which is technically 3 indirect damage because of Boba's ability, which can put your opponent in some really dicey situations. They may not want to take 3 damage to their face. Or they may not want to, so technically we can swing in for 5 damage with that card if we have the initiative, if there's no units on board. And they may not want to, put it all on their unit. They may be trying to be aggressive themselves. So definitely in the right situation, that card can be really impactful. And again, it's just pushing more indirect damage, which helps set up all the things in this deck that I will get to. 3 Power of the Dark Side, of course. Early on, I played without it, and I was like, no, I need that card. Because there's just some times when you really just need to play Power of the Dark Side. The No Disintegrations has been really, really awesome. It depends on the matchup when it becomes more relevant. But, like for example, against Sabine, that's not the card I want to see all the time. Like, especially early. Like, I really just want to remove their units or be more aggressive than them, potentially. But, it's fine around, like, the 5-6 resource turn when I'm starting to stabilize against them because they can, definitely really put pressure on me. But against more of the mid-range decks, I mean, that card's awesome. Like, where the decks that aren't putting a ton of pressure on us, we're just setting up knockouts and putting them in situations where our planetary bombardment is just going to annihilate them. So that card can be absolutely nuts in the right situation. The droid missile platform is very good. I mean, as far as pushing pressure, it's swinging in for 4, and then whenever it dies, if there's no units on board, especially if we kill it ourselves with like a droid deca exploit, then we're doing 3 damage to their face, or 4 damage if you count Boba's ability. So that card's very, very powerful. It's also a great upgrade target for our IG-88 and our Dengar upgrades. They were playing the 3 Vigilance, of course. Originally, for a while, I didn't have those in here at all. I was trying to be more aggressive, but I felt like it was necessary as a safety net against certain decks that really can put pressure on faster than us some games, or more consistently than us. 2 takedowns. So there's actually 3 takedown on the list. So what I have found is that because of all the indirect damage and our opponents, not going to be wanting to put all that on their base, takedown becomes incredibly powerful because a lot of the units get damaged and then they get into takedown range, including leaders. So takedown is very, very good, and at the cost of 4 to kill so many things on board, it is very good in here. Obviously, it's good against just taking out like Sabine and other leaders that flip early. The Dengar ability. So Dengar is mostly use it as a pilot. It's a very, very good pilot. It says on attack, the attached unit gets on attack, deal 2 indirect damage to a player if this unit is an underworld unit that it's attached to. So if it's like attached to Fett's Fire Spray, then you deal 3 indirect damage. So let's talk about that for a second, because Fett's Fire Spray is nuts at 4 resources. So it immediately comes in and it does 3 indirect damage because it does 2 because you have the Boba Leader, and then it triggers Boba. So it does 3 immediately, right? So if there's no units on board, it's doing 3 damage to their face, which is crazy. But if you attach Dengar to it, right? So then it's an Underworld unit. So now it's doing 3 indirect damage plus the 2. So it's doing 5 indirect damage. And it's now a 5/6, doing 5 indirect damage by itself, triggering Boba. So 6 indirect damage. So if there's no units on board, it is doing 11 damage. That is crazy. Fett's Fire Spray is really, really good in here. Dengar as a unit as a 5/4, I've rarely used that. I'm mostly using it as a pilot, but still nice that it has that ability in case you already have your 1 space unit out there for some reason has, a pilot, and you just want to play Dengar as a unit. Pretty sweet. IG-88, we're just playing 2. What I've found from that so far, and maybe I'm wrong because we're still in early testing, is that sometimes the units get removed, or the ones that are damaged, and sometimes it gets in awkward situations where it's just putting 0/3. I think I would like it even more if it was like 1/3 and then it became 3/3. But the 0-3, it definitely, gives you more HP, but sometimes there's not a damage unit on board. That's another reason like Daring Raid is nice too. You can just play an IG-88 for 2 piloting costs and then Daring Raid something just to make your unit have +3 in addition to the 3 HP. So, but it's still been very strong in the right situations. So let's talk about Fetch Fire Spray again a little bit more. So Fetch Fire Spray is my ideal target. I mean, Ruthless Raider is not bad, but Fetch Fire Spray, because it's already attacking, is one of my ideal targets for flipping Boba the Leader and piloting it, because it becomes an 8/8 space unit on 6 resources, and then Boba's upgrade action allows you to do spread 4 damage out when you're already doing a bunch of indirect damage to your opponent. So deploying Boba as an upgrade is absolutely more impactful than it is as a leader, because then Fetch Fire Spray is an 8/8, you do 4 damage spread out to your opponent's units, which is usually very impactful if there are units that are damaged on board, and then you're swinging in for 8 plus 2 more indirect damage with Fetch Fire Spray. So if there's no units on board, you're swinging in for 10 damage. So there's just a lot of games you just close it out with Fetch Fire Spray Boba as a pilot, and it's just boom boom. It's really, really cool, and it makes so much sense as far as the way the deck should work. Ruthless Raider is very good in here because it immediately damages a unit. We can cheat it out on 5 resources with Krennic. It has just kind of goes with the theme of what we're doing here of putting pressure, putting damage on their base. Droideka is very good in here because of the when defeated abilities. Like sometimes, if they're heavy on the ground and I have maybe a first order stormtrooper or a missile platform, I can exploit both of those, pull out a Droideka for 2 resources, and then do 4 or 5 indirect damage with Boba's ability. So if there's no units on board, then I'm just doing 5 damage to their face. So that's really, really cool. Droideka is definitely necessary in my opinion because it has synergy with the exploit, and then it's a sentinel that is much needed in certain situations. And then we get to Planetary Bombardment, which is just ridiculously strong in here. Some games I'll just play greedy and just really get to that card, and if they have no units on board, if I remove them with my units or my removal, and I have the initiative, I'm just doing 9 damage to their face for 6 resources. That's a 9 damage burn spell. Obviously, if we have a Ruthless Raider out or a Devastator out, then we're doing 13 damage to their face because of Boba's ability, which is ridiculous for 6 resources. I mean, that card is so good. It's so good in here. It's so good in anything I've played it in so far, but especially in here because of how much indirect damage you're doing to your opponents. That's got to be the most sought after card in the set that I've seen so far. It puts your opponent in so many awkward situations even when they have units out there, because they don't necessarily want their units to die, but they also don't want to lose the game, especially because let's say we have a space unit out like Fetch Fire Spray, and then we play Planetary Bombardment and we say, you figure it out what you want to do with that 9 damage that I just gave you, and then I'm going to clean it up when I put Boba on my Fetch Fire Spray and do 4 more damage to anything that's left over on the battlefield. And then by that point, I should have cleared everything out, and then I'm going to swing in for 10. So pretty nuts. And obviously, if they have no units on board because we've removed them, which is another reason why removal is good in here, then we're doing 9 to their face, flipping Boba onto Fetch Fire Spray, and then swing in for 10 more. So we can, out of nowhere, swing in for 20 damage, basically, which is just crazy. So that is really, really fun to play in here. And that's another reason why we want to kind of have those early removals spells to slow things down, because once we hit that 6 resources and we get to that Boba deploy, we can really, really just blow the game out of the water with that combination of cards. Devastator, mostly I've tested against aggro because I was just trying to make sure I could get this deck in a way that can survive against those more aggressive opponents. But Devastator's been really cool to play, and I think you're bringing in like the Devastator and Crate Dragons against those more mid-range opponents, and your bigger removal spells there with your Vanquish and your 2 Rivals Fall, and even a copy of Avenger. This deck is really, really good. I think it's going to be one that we see a lot of. Maybe it needs to be tweaked and figured out, but Boba the Leader is nuts. I'm sure there's probably a yellow version of this that could be pretty awesome too, using like triple dark raid and sneak attack, kind of similar to Jango, but using the indirect damage effects as well as some of the other spaceships that Jango was using. I could see that being pretty strong too. I haven't gotten around to that yet. I was just trying to work on this blue one, but I mean, it's super fun. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Love to hear any feedback, thoughts, suggestions. Obviously, we're in the early theory crafting, and there's still more spoilers to come, but this one is just super fun, and it already feels very strong and has a lot of potential, and it's just, it feels like, like I said, I just really enjoy the aspect of putting my opponent in a position where they have to make a bunch of decisions, and I just get to sit back and react. That is a good place to be as far as mental exhaustion goes in a card game. So, and then it's just a lot of fun. Like, super fun deck. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. But I will show you a couple games here. Right, first one here is up against Sabine Green. So what I've learned about this matchup is I don't want to be greedy. There's definitely some games where I can be super aggressive, but I still don't want to be with a greedy mindset, because when I do that, then it can definitely bite me. So we're gonna get rid of Kylo and Ruthless Raider, I think is what I want to do. I keep the Vigilance just in case things get out of hand. Krennic allows us to play these when defeated units a little cheaper, so we can play this for 2 cost. Okay. Play this for 1. Yeah, we can't play both right now. We could play this on top of that, which is actually pretty sweet. So we're going to do that. And this is why Krennic is awesome. Okay, swinging him for 5. Makes sense that he would do that. Okay, so like I said, with the IG-88, right now it's not giving us +3, but because we have the Krennic, we will attack in, and now it is a 5/6 unit, which is very, very cool. Dengar is really cool, but unfortunately we cannot pilot that right now. I'm trying to think if I want to just put it on Fett's Fire Spray on the 5 resource turn. Again, like I said, you don't want to play greedy. I am going to play defensively here. Okay. So let's get this down and see what they do. Yep. There's what I was talking about. Okay. Okay. So we have a 5/6. Do we want to just race them? And take 3 more. We do have the Vigilance. So this is kind of where you get into these situations. This is why Vigilance is so important, because it allows you to be like, you know what? I can go to their face because I have you in my hand. But if I didn't have it in my hand, I'd be like, I have to kill the green A-Wing right now, right? So because I know what's in my deck, I'm going to go face. Okay. That actually makes sense for them to do that. That's one thing I did not think about. Another Vigilance. Okay, I don't think we need 3. We need to get another unit on board. So this is why we need the Vigilance too, because right now we're in a situation where things could get pretty awkward for us, and we definitely need, again, to see what they're doing here. I mean, that's actually smart, because they're actually 23 damage. I mean, we do have the Vigilance. Again, gonna keep all the life gain right now because we are behind. And this is how this can go sometimes. So this is a good example, because as much as I want to be greedy, doesn't always work that way, right? So this allows us to pump up our unit. So we're swinging in for 8, 13 damage. So I think we're okay to be aggressive. Okay. So now we're in the situation where, because we're swinging for 8, we're just going to claim the initiative and just Vigilance the the Sabine and get ourselves out of death range. Yeah, and then we're swinging it for 8. So you kind of see how impactful the Vigilance was there. We found the top target later. We didn't have a situation where Onyx died to gain the 2 life because we put an upgrade on it on turn 2. But you can see how sometimes that matchup kind of gets out of hand, so we need the life gain stuff. But then there's times where I play this matchup and I run them over, and my subtle removal thrown in here and there just slows them down enough. But you kind of see how impactful the Boba flip was, because it made it an 8-8 or 8-6, I'm sorry, and then it made this have 6 damage, even though we didn't need to use that because we wanted to use the Vigilance because we didn't want them to have a Rebel Assault or something like that where they could easily do 9 damage with a K2SO and a Sabine or whatever. But yeah, super fun. All right, let's play another matchup just to kind of give you an idea. But this is a really fun matchup to play with this deck. All right, sweet. So I like this hand a lot. We have Krennic into Stormtrooper. No mulligan. All right, let's go 1 Dengar. I like the droid deck. Yeah, I think because we don't have a turn space unit, I think the Dengar needs to go. Just because I don't... Ouch. That was interesting. Taken 4 on turn 1. Okay. Lots of good stuff here. Alright, let's do it like that for now. Man, they are just hitting us with damage, huh? I mean, it makes sense for them to take it to the shield, right? Alright, no, indirect damage goes through the shield, okay. To the face! I think we might be in good shape, though, because of the way that AI is playing this game out. And you like how I get to play that for 2. It doesn't get defeated, though, so I don't want to play that, actually. IG-88 for 2 onto our space unit here. Do we need the takedown? Potentially, yeah. This makes this a 4-5 space unit, which is not bad. And if we damage a unit, then it's a 7-5 space unit, which is pretty awesome. Alright, let's do it like that. Sneak attack. Okay. Well, now I definitely want to put the top target on. Okay. It exhausts us, but we still get to kill this because it dies this turn. Sure. Okay. Ouch. That does stink. It does. Okay. But we do get to heal 6 damage with the top target. Or 4 damage, I'm sorry. Okay, Boba. Boba feels wonderful here. Let's attack him with First Order first because it doesn't have a shield, just in case they have something to ping it. Okay, getting in for 4 damage there was awesome because they didn't want to damage their cartel. 2 more. Play Boba, or Fett's Fire Spray, I mean. Cool. And now we're going to claim the initiative, and we're going to deploy Boba immediately, so we can do 4 damage. And spread that damage out. Ruthless Raider is sweet, we'll hold on to that. We'll probably play that as well, but first thing we're doing is piloting Fett's Fire Spray, and we're going to do, let's see, 1 here, 1 here. Maybe not. We are in takedown range for this already. The reason I don't undo this because he can exhaust us. We could do that either way though, because he could just attack into it if we don't kill it. So let's just do it like that. Sure, he did not do that, which doesn't quite make sense. But we're swinging for, well, do you want to take down? Well, no, we just do the 8, put the 2 on Jango, and then we can just Ruthless Raider to finish him off. So, yeah. Boom, boom. Fun stuff, man. And we still killed Jango. Look at that. Alright, one more, just to kind of give you an idea, just so you can see how this flows. Again, no mulligan. I really like the fact that we have the Krennic First Order again. Do we want another copy of Onyx? Yes. Yes, because we can play them both next turn. So we can kind of get off to a really aggressive start here. Which is crazy. So I want to, yeah, this is good to show you. Oof, okay. That's hard because Power of the Dark Side's really good. And Fest Fire Spray's really good. Alright, I'm going to let the power go. I'm going to play aggressive just to show you. Just to show you. Okay. Let's go here. In case he has a 1-drop. I don't think there's any 1-drops in there, though. Okay. Getting in for 3, which is awesome. Okay, now we're going to play this for 1. This for 2. Now we have Fet's Fire Spray coming in. Guess we want to play the ship the following turn, most likely, right? Okay, he waylaid us. That's fine. Let's go here for potentially 4. Yep. Lose Krennic. It's alright, Krennic did its job. Attack here. Then we go Fet's Fire Spray. Nice. Alright, there's something sweet. Jardeka could be useful this turn. But I think I want to just keep the foot on the gas, right? This allows us, if there's a damage unit. So first thing we're going to do is damage his Quinlan. Yep. So now that we know that the IG-88 is going to get more value for us. Okay, he goes face, not a problem. Put this on the Onyx to make it a 5/6. Okay, he killed that, that's fine. Let's go for 5. Okay, take 3. Yep, and then, yep, Tarkintown, okay. And this is what I mean by takedown becomes really good in this list. And we can just deploy this as a pilot here. Do 2 more. And swing in for all the damage. So another great example of what this deck can do. Super fun. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Just wanted to give you guys a few examples and kind of let you see how it works. I think it has an awesome deck. and it is definitely going to shape things differently in the meta. Obviously, these decks that I'm playing against don't have any of the new cards, as I haven't had time to adjust those lists, and I will probably not do so until all the cards are spoiled for those ones, because they are staples right now. But yeah, you get the idea. But I'm sure those lists will have to adjust to decks like this that are incredibly potentially difficult and force you to have a ton of decisions. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, y'all have a good one, and peace out.